What if I told you that the greatest revenge isn't revenge at all? It's not rage. It's not a sharp, clever comeback. It's not even the satisfaction of seeing justice served. The greatest revenge is rising so high above the noise that those who tried to break you can no longer even reach your shadow. They whisper your name in dark corners, hoping to shake your spirit. But you're silent, unmoved, unshakable, untouchable. Here's the brutal truth no one tells you. Every single second you spend plotting payback is another second they still own a piece of your mind. They don't deserve your energy. They don't deserve your precious focus. And they definitely don't deserve to control your emotions like a puppet master. The Stoics understood this deeply. They never wasted their lives chasing revenge or plotting childish payback. Instead, they built lives so strong, so deeply rooted in purpose and personal power, that anyone who tried to harm them faded into irrelevance, mere footnotes in a story too grand for them to ruin. So let me ask you straight. Are you ready to stop reacting and start reclaiming your true power? Are you ready to stop wasting breath on getting even and instead build a life so luminous, so focused, that anyone trying to bring you down can't even look at you without shrinking? Because in this video, you won't learn how to get even. You're going to learn how to become so disciplined, so emotionally intelligent, so locked in on your own mission, that they no longer matter at all. No more burning anger, no more useless noise, only power, pure, unstoppable power. Let's begin. Revenge. The word alone feels strong, almost intoxicating. It sounds like fire in your chest. That rush of justice, that surge of righteous fury, when someone betrays you, humiliates you, disrespects you in front of others. That burning sensation feels like rocket fuel. I'll show them. I'll make them regret crossing me. But here's the harsh reality no one tells you. Traditional revenge is a beautiful lie. It sells you the illusion of power, while quietly draining your inner peace, drop by drop. Imagine this. Someone insults you publicly, in front of a crowd. Your first instinct, fire back immediately. Hurt them as deeply as they hurt you. Make it loud. Make it sting. And for one fleeting moment, you might feel powerful, like you're standing tall. But then what? Now you're emotionally entangled with someone who should have never even shared your arena. You've sacrificed your emotional discipline for a cheap victory. You've thrown away your higher standard to brawl in the mud. That's not true strength. That's dependence disguised as dominance. Because if your mood, your actions, and your peace depend on their behavior, guess what? You're no longer in control. They are. Marcus Aurelius captured it perfectly. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Translation: don't fight fire with fire. Burn so brightly in your own direction that their flames can't even find you. But let's be brutally honest for a moment. Why does revenge feel so addictive, so seductive? It's biology. When someone wrongs you, your amygdala, that primitive part of your brain built for survival, flips into overdrive. Adrenaline surges. Your body readies for war. But the amygdala doesn't care about wisdom. It doesn't value your hard-earned discipline, your leadership mindset, or your long-term growth. It just wants you to react. In that heated state, your emotional intelligence vanishes like smoke. You stop thinking like a stoic. You start thinking like a cornered animal. And this is where most people lose. Not to their enemies, but to themselves. Because every act of petty revenge might sting the other person for a moment, but it will always hurt you more deeply, and for far longer. It pollutes your mental clarity. It siphons your focus away from your real mission. It ties your self-worth to someone else's approval or defeat. And worst of all, it keeps you emotionally tethered to someone who should have lost their power over you long ago. Let me give you a real-world metaphor to make this even clearer. Imagine carrying a burning piece of coal in your bare hand, waiting for the perfect moment to throw it at someone who wronged you. You grip it tighter and tighter, hoping they'll pass close enough. But the longer you hold it, the more it scorches your skin, burning deeper into your flesh. That's what traditional revenge does. The Stoics understood a better way. They taught that true strength isn't about fighting back. It's about self-control. The real flex isn't in throwing the coal, but in dropping it altogether. It's in walking away, not because you're weak, but because you're wise enough to know what's worth your energy. Here's a powerful Stoic truth. He who angers you controls you. Epictetus. If you stay angry, they win. If you obsess over payback, they win. If you let bitterness shape your future, they win every single time. The game ends the moment you stop playing. Make no mistake, the people who hurt you want you to react. When you react, you show them they still matter. You show them they still occupy space in your mind, space they didn't earn and don't deserve. But when you choose silence, when you move forward without a backward glance, when you build something beautiful in the quiet, that's when they feel your absence like a thunderclap echoing through an empty hall. Because silence isn't weakness. Silence is a weapon. And indifference? That's emotional mastery at its highest level. You don't need to fight back. You don't need to perform. You need to level up, not to prove anything to them, but because the highest version of you doesn't even think about revenge. They're too busy building an empire of peace, purpose, and unshakable self-worth. Before you craft that snarky comeback speech, that perfect burn tweet, that savage Instagram caption, stop and ask yourself, am I acting from true power, or simply reacting from pain? Remember this. Revenge keeps you locked inside the story they wrote for you. Discipline gives you the pen to write a new, better story, one they can't touch. Let's get one thing straight. Winning isn't about clapping back. It isn't about making noise or dragging someone online. Real winning, true Stoic winning, means evolving so far beyond your old self that the people who hurt you can't even reach you anymore. That's not ego. That's evolution. Most people are still trapped in old emotional wars, fighting ghosts, trying to prove their worth to the same people who once tried to destroy them. But here's the cold, liberating truth. If you have to prove you've won, you haven't really won at all. The people with true executive presence, they don't announce their victory. They live it. They breathe it. Their silence echoes louder than any insult hurled at them. Think about the most truly powerful people you know, not just the rich or famous, but those with deep, grounded power. They don't argue. They don't chase approval. They don't perform for an audience. They simply rise. Because here's the secret. Growth is both the loudest revenge and the quietest. Let's take a moment to imagine this. Picture someone in your life who doubted you, laughed at your vision, or mocked your humble beginnings. Now fast forward 1 year. Your life is unrecognizable. You've mastered your craft. You walk with an unshakable mental clarity. You radiate calm strength. You're building something real, with focus, with fire, with unwavering discipline. You don't say a single word. You don't post a single look at me update. But your life? It screams success louder than any words ever could. And they see it. They feel it. The glow. The confidence. The silent power. But here's the ultimate twist. By that point, you don't even care if they see it or not. Because you didn't rise to impress them. You rose because you refused to stay broken. That is Stoic revenge. It's not about slashing their tires, it's building your life so powerfully, so fiercely, that their existence fades into a distant, irrelevant echo. There's a quote that sums this up perfectly. The best revenge is to be nothing like those who harmed you, and everything like the person they could never become. They wanted to see you angry. Instead, they saw you win. And not just win, evolve beyond anything they could have imagined. Now, let's get tactical. If you truly want to rise, you don't need some big, dramatic comeback moment for everyone to watch. You don't need a cinematic speech or a viral social media post. What you really need is a system, a daily set of rituals that sharpen your emotional strength, reinforce your self-leadership, and solidify your inner fortress. Wake up early, own your mornings before the world even starts. Move your body. Train your vessel so your mind stays sharp. Read things that elevate your thinking and expand your perspective. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to grow, not people who drain your energy with negativity and small-minded talk. Invest deeply in your mental health. Eliminate distractions, gossip, revenge fantasies, and old stories that keep you chained to the past. Why? Because every single minute you spend thinking about them is a precious minute stolen from your future. You weren't put on this earth to play petty games. You're here to master your mission, to build, to lead. And every time you level up in silence, with zero drama, zero announcements, zero look at me energy, you build an unshakable presence. That's not revenge. That's real victory. You see, the enemy never expected you to rise. They expected you to beg, to explain, to break down, to seek their approval, to argue endlessly. But instead, you vanished into your purpose. You disappeared into your greatness. You swapped your anger for ambition. You traded revenge for routine. You didn't stay on the battlefield, clawing for scraps of validation. You left and started building a kingdom. And that's what they can't handle. Because when you grow in silence, you force them to confront the one thing they fear the most, your evolution. So don't waste your energy trying to prove them wrong. Just become someone they no longer deserve access to, someone they can only watch from a distance, or wonder about in silence. Either way, you win. When someone betrays you, lies to you, disrespects you, what they're really doing is making a bet. They're betting that you'll crumble, that you'll retreat into your wounds, that you'll lose your voice, your value, your spirit. But what do? You show them, without saying a single word, that your excellence cannot be stolen, not through rage, not through revenge, but through relentless, unshakable consistency. Because excellence is the only language they truly understand, and it's the one they can never speak back. Let's break this down clearly. When someone sees you operating at your highest level, mentally sharp, emotionally grounded, physically strong, spiritually anchored, it dismantles every lie they ever believed about you. It silences gossip without a word. It exposes their envy in plain sight. It crushes their projections, not because you fought them, but because you outgrew them. That is Stoic philosophy in its purest form. Virtues per actum, excellence through action. Epictetus said it best. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. This isn't just ancient wisdom. It's a high-performance mindset. Because the moment you stop explaining and start embodying your value, you stop being bait for petty drama. And that's when the real transformation begins. You walk into rooms differently. You speak less, but say more. You stop chasing validation and start commanding silent, undeniable respect. Here's the truth they don't want you to realize. Most people only understand two outcomes: your collapse or your excellence. When collapse isn't an option, excellence becomes your only possible response. So build your body until it radiates pure discipline. Build your mind until it becomes immune to chaos, unbothered by noise. Build your mission so powerfully that it pulls you out of bed before the alarm even rings. Build your peace so deeply rooted that no argument, no insult, no betrayal can ever penetrate it. Not for them, but in spite of them. Because the goal isn't to prove your worth to the doubters, to the critics, to the ghosts of your past. The goal is to become so valuable, so undeniable, that they don't even belong in your orbit anymore. Let's get brutally honest. Do you really think Marcus Aurelius, ruler of an empire, had time to argue with small minds, to chase after petty revenge on people who insulted him? No. He led an entire empire while journaling daily about stillness, virtue, and unwavering focus. That isn't weakness. That is emotional mastery at its highest level. That is the mindset of an executive, a leader, someone who chooses progress over pettiness every single time. Here's something the Stoics knew centuries before social media even existed. The most powerful message you'll ever send is the life you live when no one is watching. When your habits speak for you. When your discipline becomes your identity. When your very presence shifts the energy in the room before you even open your mouth. They notice, even the ones who pretended they didn't. And that's exactly why your excellence hurts them the most. Because you didn't collapse. You didn't explain. You didn't retaliate. You didn't descend to their level. You just kept rising. You turned their betrayal into dust by becoming unforgettable. And the most beautiful part? By chasing excellence, you don't just win. You transcend. You enter a whole new league where old games don't matter anymore. You no longer seek revenge. You seek results. You no longer need closure. You create clarity. You no longer fear being misunderstood, because your reputation isn't built on reactions anymore. It's built on undeniable, living results. So if you truly want the best revenge, don't burn bridges. Build towers. Let them stand at the bottom, staring in silent envy, while you build higher and higher from the top. Because excellence is the only language they will ever truly respect, and the one they can never speak. Sometimes the loudest thing you will ever say is nothing at all. No reaction, no explanation, no final words. Just the echo of your footsteps walking away. In a world addicted to proving a point, silence isn't just surprising, it's shocking. But in the realm of true emotional intelligence, silence is sacred. Walking away isn't weakness. It's strategy. It's self-worth. It's the clearest, most powerful message you can send. You no longer have access to my energy. Let's be brutally real. Most people don't expect you to walk away. They expect you to argue, to beg, to defend yourself, to keep the drama alive and burning. Why? Because your attention feeds them. Your reaction validates their manipulation. Your anger confirms to them that they still hold power over you. But when you simply go silent, when you disappear, without warning, you shatter the entire game they were playing. The Stoics understood this perfectly. They believed that when you give your precious attention to things beneath you, you don't hurt them, you diminish yourself. Epictetus said it best. Keep your attention focused entirely on what is truly your own concern. And here's a truth most people never realize. Not everything that disturbs you deserves your response. Let that sink in deeply. Every time you explain yourself to someone who has already decided what to believe, every time you try to fix what you never broke, every time you stay just to prove your worth, you trade your inner peace for their external approval. And that is a bad trade every single time. So what does walking away really mean? It means reclaiming the pen to your own story. It means realizing, finally and fully, that not everyone deserves closure. Not every betrayal needs a dramatic confrontation. Not every attack deserves the weight of your voice. Silence is not surrender. Silence is a powerful spiritual discipline because it takes immense strength, a deep, grounded power to choose restraint when every cell in your body is screaming to explode, to lash out, to set the world on fire. It's easy to clap back. It's easy to send that angry text, to craft that perfect comeback, to post your side of the story for everyone to see. But it takes true power to pause, breathe deeply, and choose to say absolutely nothing. Why? Because you've finally realized something sacred. Your energy is a currency too precious to waste on people and situations that drain you dry. Here's the paradox most people never understand. The moment you stop trying to prove your value to others is the exact moment you finally start embodying it. You no longer chase justice. You become justice by becoming so centered, so untouchable, that nothing outside you can shatter your inner clarity. That's real mental toughness. It isn't about building cold, high walls. It's about knowing exactly where your door is and having the strength to walk through it without ever looking back. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone who lied to you, disrespected you, manipulated your kindness, and still somehow expected you to crawl back. Most people would wait endlessly for an apology, for some miraculous accountability, for karma to come riding in on a white horse. But a Stoic knows the truth. The apology you're waiting for will never be as healing as your own decision to walk away. You don't need them to regret it. You don't need them to finally get it. You don't need them to see your worth. You only need to see it yourself. And when you truly see it, really see it, you'll understand something profound. You were never truly angry. You were hurt. But you stayed too long in places that never honored that pain. Now, you've outgrown the need to explain or defend it. Because sometimes the most powerful boundary isn't a fiery speech. It's distance. So walk away, not from pride, but from crystal clear clarity. Let your absence do the talking. Let your silence echo louder than any defense you could ever give. They'll hear it. They'll feel it, while they replay the last thing they said to you over and over again in their mind. You'll already be living your next chapter, in peace, in power, in silence. That is the Stoic way. You don't owe your pain to anyone, not to the one who hurt you, not to the crowd watching, waiting for your next move, not even to your past self who once thought they deserved another chance. Let's get this straight. Carrying pain is not a badge of honor or loyalty. Too many people confuse suffering with strength. They think holding onto betrayal, humiliation, and old wounds somehow makes them braver, tougher, more righteous. They think, if I let go too soon, it means they got away with it. But the truth is, they already got away with it. The moment you gave them the power to keep hurting you inside your own mind. There's a critical difference between healing and holding. Healing means choosing yourself every single day, choosing your peace, choosing your forward movement. Holding means choosing them over and over again, sacrificing your growth in the name of justice or closure. That's not strength. That's self-sacrifice disguised as loyalty. One of the deepest teachings of Stoicism is self-mastery, the idea that your peace, your thoughts, your focus belong to you and you alone, not to your enemies, not to your ex, not to your critics, not to your past trauma. When you continue to replay what they did to you, to relive the same painful scenes like a broken record stuck on repeat, you're keeping them alive inside your nervous system. You're writing new chapters in your story that they don't even deserve to appear in. Marcus Aurelius said it best. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Let's pause right there. This isn't just a nice quote to nod at and then scroll past. It's a way of living, a complete, daily practice. What does this actually look like in real life? It looks like setting unshakable emotional boundaries. It looks like saying, I see what you did. I acknowledge it. But I refuse to let it define my inner world anymore. It looks like refusing to start your mornings with someone else's shadow pressing on your chest. It looks like choosing silence over revenge, distance over drama, freedom over familiarity. It's realizing one painful but liberating Stoic truth. The person who hurt you isn't thinking about you anymore. So why are you still building your life around their memory? Let that sting. Let it hit you hard. Because once it does, It can wake you up like a splash of cold water to the face. You'll realize your suffering has turned into an offering, and the altar you're leaving it on, it's been abandoned long ago. So, how do you stop? Not by pretending everything's fine, not by burying your emotions in shallow distractions, but by making a high-performance mindset decision. You stop giving them free rent in your mind. You stop handing them your focus, your precious energy, your sense of identity. You stop letting a temporary villain dictate the permanent direction of your soul. Yes, they hurt you. Yes, it was real. But so is your healing. So is your purpose. So is the beautiful life you can build beyond this chapter. The Stoics would say, you are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become despite it. So here's your quiet, powerful rebellion. You walk away, not to escape the pain, but to choose something infinitely greater than it. You stop talking about them. You stop trying to make them understand. You stop bleeding emotionally for someone who never even cared to ask how deep the wound went. You leave them behind, not to punish them, but to finally stop punishing yourself. This is your power. It doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't need an audience or a round of applause. It just needs you to decide, I will no longer be the prison guard of my own suffering. From this moment forward, you're no longer explaining, chasing, proving, or hoping. You're building. You're healing. You're rising. And them, they become irrelevant. Not because they vanished from the earth, but because in your story, they stopped mattering. At some point, you have to make a life-changing decision. Do you want to win the argument or win your life? Let that sink in, because most people never make that distinction. They spend years, sometimes their entire lives, chasing the satisfaction of being right, of having the last word, of proving a point to people who don't even deserve a single sentence of their story. But here's what the Stoics knew long before modern psychology finally caught up. You don't rise by stepping on others. You rise by stepping beyond them. That is the high road, and don't let anyone fool you. It isn't soft. It isn't weak. It isn't passive. It's one of the most powerful, demanding acts of emotional intelligence you will ever practice. Let's break this down clearly. 1. The high road requires deep self-worth. When someone betrays you, lies to you, disrespects you, your first instinct might be to engage, to confront them, to set the record straight, to get that final word. But often, this isn't about truth. It's about validation. We want them to finally see how wrong they were, to regret what they did, to apologize so perfectly that it finally makes all the pain feel worth it. But ask yourself honestly, do you truly need them to acknowledge your value for you to believe in it? Because the high road, the path of true self-respect, means you no longer outsource your self-worth. It means their approval, their apology, even their recognition is optional. Your peace is not. 2. The high road requires delayed gratification. Taking. The high road doesn't give you an immediate dopamine hit. There's no instant applause, no viral mic drop moment. No flood of comments telling you how strong and righteous you are. And that's exactly why most people don't choose it. They trade long-term dignity for short-term drama. They chase the fleeting rush of winning a petty argument. instead of the enduring power of inner alignment. But Stoics like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus trained for something far deeper. Spiritual discipline. They didn't live for emotional highs. They lived for unbreakable inner alignment. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." The high road is the executive mindset in action. You conserve your energy for what truly propels your life forward, not for what simply feeds your ego in the moment. 3. The high road makes you untouchable. Think about it. When someone tries to provoke you, insults you, disrespects you, tries to drag you into chaos, and you don't flinch, you don't react, you don't explode, you give them nothing. What happens? You disarm them completely, not with anger, not with revenge, but with an unshakable calm that confuses and frustrates them. And in that calm, you build a fortress of mental strength that no one can invade. Picture this. You're in a room where everyone is shouting, throwing accusations, losing control. Meanwhile, you stand still, silent, eyes clear, breath steady. People notice. They might not say it out loud, but deep down, they respect it. Because true composure is rare, and what is rare automatically becomes powerful. 4. The high road is strategic, not passive. Let's get something straight. Stoicism is not about becoming numb. It's not about letting people walk all over you or swallowing injustice blindly. It's about becoming so intentional, so focused, that you know exactly where to spend your energy and where to guard it. Fiercely, sometimes, the most impactful move is to walk away in total silence. Other times, it's to draw a clear, unbreakable boundary. No anger, no shouting, just firm, unwavering resolve. High performers, elite leaders, spiritual masters, they all share this same trait. They do not engage with pettiness. Why? Because their vision is too valuable, and their time is too sacred to waste on people who don't even respect themselves. 5. Your success becomes their silence. Here's the part nobody tells you. The people who hurt you, they're watching. They may act like they don't care. They may pretend they've moved on. But deep down, they see it. They see the life you're building. They hear whispers of your progress. They feel the growing distance, the way your peace no longer includes them. And it stings. Because you became someone they can no longer reach. No matter how loudly they shout or how many games they play. That is the real mic drop. That is the revenge you don't even have to plan for. Because your elevation becomes their echo. So now, the real question isn't should I take the high road? It's what could my life look like if I never left it? Because once you taste the power of choosing peace over pettiness, purpose over pride, mastery over mayhem, you don't go back, you rise, and you keep rising, until even the memory of those who tried to pull you down can't keep up anymore. And that, my friend, is how you win when someone wrongs us. It's easy to feel like karma isn't working fast enough. We check our emotional watches and think, why are they still fine while I'm still hurting? That's the ego talking. That's the small voice in us demanding instant justice. But here's the Stoic truth. Justice delayed is not justice denied. The universe may move slowly, but it moves with precision. And the moment you stop playing the role of judge, jury, and executioner in your own mind, you start to reclaim the most priceless thing you have, your inner peace. 1. Let the universe handle what you can't. The Stoics had a beautiful concept for divine balance called logos, the rational order of the universe. They believed that every injustice eventually collapses under its own weight. You don't have to chase revenge. You don't have to force people to see your pain. You don't even have to make them apologize. All you have to do is step out of the way so karma can do its silent, precise work, without your interference. As Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. When you embody calmness, grace, and unshakable resilience, you're no longer waiting for retribution. You're too busy building your future, while their world slowly implodes in your rearview mirror. 2. Chasing karma is a spiritual distraction. Here's what most people completely miss. The more you sit and wait for karma to strike them, the more you become mentally chained to the person who hurt you. It's like sitting in a prison cell with the door wide open, refusing to leave until you see your enemy get locked up beside you. That's not justice. That's emotional imprisonment. Spiritual discipline means trusting the timeline of life, even when it hurts, even when it feels unfair. It means choosing your freedom over your need to see them punished. 3. They are already facing their own consequences. You might not see it. You might think they're living freely, unbothered. But people who lie, betray, manipulate, and abuse, they carry a hidden curse. They can never escape themselves. They wake up every single day with the same mindset that made them harmful in the first place. They sabotage good relationships. They destroy meaningful opportunities. They live in an endless loop of emotional chaos and call it normal. That's karma. It doesn't always show up as public humiliation or dramatic downfall. Sometimes it looks like quiet misery hidden behind a loud, confident mask. You don't need to destroy them. They're already doing it themselves, one bad choice, one broken moment at a time. 4. Your energy is too expensive to waste on revenge. Let's talk about return on investment. Not financially, but spiritually and psychologically. What's the ROI of revenge? A few seconds of shallow satisfaction, followed by years of emotional residue. Anger drains your focus. Bitterness clouds your judgment. Resentment poisons your inner peace. That isn't a strategy. That self-destructs. Masquerading as strength. The Stoic approach? Invest your energy in becoming untouchable. Use that same fire to fuel your mental health, personal growth, and life mission. Turn your wounds into wisdom, not into weapons. 5. When you let go, they lose all power. Here's the paradox most never understand. The moment you stop caring whether karma ever reaches them is the exact moment it finally does, because they lose the one last hook they had in you, your attention. When you stop flinching at their name, when you smile instead of seethe, when your life keeps moving forward while theirs stays stuck in the same loops. That silence, that calm, unbothered energy, that is the sting they never saw coming and can never escape. 6. You are not the avenger. You are the example. We live in a world addicted to outrage. Everyone wants to fight back. clap back, and prove a point. Everyone is offended, everyone is performing for an audience. But true Stoic warriors, they don't clap, they build. They don't broadcast revenge. They embody quiet, unwavering resilience. You don't win by shouting them down. You don't win by proving them wrong in front of an audience. You win by becoming so right with yourself, so deeply aligned and elevated, that there's nothing left to argue with. Your growth becomes the lesson. Your peace becomes the ultimate proof. And that is the kind of justice that doesn't need courtroom, no final verdict. Final thought: stop waiting for the universe to punish them. Start showing the universe that you are ready for the next level. The best karma isn't watching them crash and burn. The best karma is you rising so high that they can't even find the ladder to reach you anymore. That isn't just Stoic philosophy. That's self-mastery. That's pure, unfiltered freedom. That's the real win. Forgiveness. Just the word alone can stir something deep inside us. Anger, resistance, maybe even shame. Because somewhere along the way, forgiveness got twisted. It became a misunderstood act, seen as passive, weak, soft, or even as some spiritual surrender that makes you small. But let's set the record straight. Stoic forgiveness is not weakness. It's the most unshakable, ironclad form of emotional intelligence. It's a bold, courageous power move for those who refuse to be defined or confined by their pain. It isn't about letting them off the hook. It's about finally unhooking yourself from the emotional anchor that's been dragging you under. 1. Forgiveness is a solo journey to inner freedom. You don't need to sit across from them. You don't need an apology. You don't need an explanation. You don't need closure or validation. Forgiveness, in the Stoic sense, is you tearing up a contract you never signed in the first place. The longer you hold onto your anger, the longer you stay energetically chained to the person who hurt you. It's like keeping a wound open, not because it can't heal, but because you keep picking at it, hoping they'll finally notice your pain. They won't, but your peace will. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. That includes the power to stop carrying what poisons your mental clarity. 2. You don't need to forget to forgive. One of the most dangerous myths we've been fed is that forgiveness equals forgetting. No, Stoicism doesn't ask you to become naive. It asks you to become wise. You don't forgive so they can come back. You forgive so you can move forward without dragging the rotting weight of the past behind you. Like a rusted chain. Keep the lesson, release the poison. Keep the boundary, let go of the obsession. Keep your dignity. Leave behind the endless inner courtroom you've been replaying for years. 3. Unforgiveness is a slow, silent poison. Holding onto resentment feels powerful at first. You replay the betrayals. You rehearse your savage comebacks. You imagine your ultimate moment of justice. But all that energy is doing one thing: burning fuel you could have used to build the life you actually want. Unforgiveness inflames anxiety. It hijacks your focus. It robs you of sleep, interrupts your productivity, and kills your joy. If revenge is the illusion of power, then unforgiveness is the illusion of protection. But neither truly shields you. Only emotional healing and spiritual discipline can do that. For forgiveness is self-mastery. In action. Think of the strongest people you know. They aren't the ones barking back at every insult or plotting elaborate takedowns. They aren't flexing online, trying to win a digital fistfight. They are the ones who guard their attention like gold. They protect their energy as if it were sacred. They know their peace is expensive, and they don't trade it for the ego's cheap satisfaction. Forgiveness is a high-performance mindset. It clears your mental RAM. It frees up bandwidth for creation instead of rumination, for growth instead of grudges, for clarity instead of chaos. It's not softness. It's strategic strength at the highest level. 5. You can forgive without ever letting them back in. This is a crucial distinction. You don't have to restore connection to release resentment. Forgiveness doesn't say, "I trust you again." Forgiveness says, "I no longer carry this pain with me, this story with me every single day." It doesn't mean, "You're welcome back into my life." Your soul can close the door completely, without needing to keep your hand hovering over the handle. Letting go doesn't mean you erase the memory. It means you finally realize that you're no longer the person who got hurt. And they no longer deserve access to the incredible person you've become. 6. The Stoic doesn't just forgive. They transcend. The Stoics weren't about catchy slogans or hollow words. They were about embodiment. They believed you don't preach peace, you become peace. You don't beg the world to be fair. You show up anyway, unwavering, with integrity and strength. To the Stoic, forgiveness is not surrender. It is transcendence. It's rising so high that the actions of small, bitter minds no longer disturb your mental sky. It's recognizing that the ultimate power is not in reacting, not in responding, not in obsessing. It's in simply rising, higher and higher. Final thought. Forgiveness is not for the other person. It's for you, for the version of you that is ready to stop merely surviving and start truly living. For the you that refuses to drag old pain into your future. For the you that prioritizes mental health, emotional fortitude, and spiritual elevation above all. No, you don't forgive because they deserve it. You forgive because you do, because you've suffered enough. And the moment you make that decision, quietly, internally, is the moment they lose every ounce of power they ever had over you. That isn't surrender. That's sovereignty. So, here you stand today, not as a victim, not even as a survivor, but as a warrior of peace. You chose calm over chaos, mastery over madness. You didn't scream for attention. You didn't fight to be seen. You didn't try to prove your worth to small minds. You simply became someone they can never reach again. That is the ultimate revenge. Because while they remained trapped in their cycle, spinning the same tired stories, you built something they could never touch, a life rooted in unshakable strength, a soul untouchable by pettiness, a presence so deeply grounded that your silence echoes like thunder. Let them wonder, let them gossip, let them sit and wait for a reaction that will never come. Because when you find true self-worth, when your energy is protected by spiritual discipline and emotional intelligence, you owe no one your pain. You owe only your progress. Now, it's your turn. What will you do today to show the world and more importantly, yourself, that you have moved beyond revenge? Drop it in the comments below. Your next move might just become the spark that inspires someone else's breakthrough. And if this message touched your soul, even for a moment, drop a like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Because here at Stoic Capsule, we're not just watching videos, we're building a movement. A movement where resilience is normal, where silence is strategy, and where true power is earned quietly but undeniably.